Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to build a medieval cottage, because, it's always just nice to have a different kind of starter house when you're beginning your playthroughs of Minecraft. Without further ado, remember, please like and subscribe, and onto the video. And notice in the right side of the screen, yeah, that pyramid isn't rendering correctly. Just need to point that out. Anyways, our palette is going to include a lot of spruce and dark oak related blocks, along with white concrete, which seems odd, but trust me, it does work out. We have spruce planks. We're going to be using this as just flooring and parts of the roof. Dark oak logs, which will act as support. Dark oak stripped logs will be the trim on the walls. Dark oak planks for furniture and outlines. Then we got the main part of the wall, which is white concrete, a bunch of different stone-related blocks, but I chose cobble, mossy cobble, and andesite. So we're going to use those for the foundation. And then we'll use deep slate tiles and their cracked variant for the flooring there. Along with that, we'll be using spruce leaves for a landscape. Then find yourself a nice flat area, or if you're in a taiga biome, cut down some trees, because this works best in normal taiga biomes. First, start by laying down a cobblestone foundation, and as you do it, you need to segment it into threes, because our wall design right here just kind of necessitates it. You can see how on the bottom we have it segmented into 1 block segments of cobblestone, but on top we have 3 wide segments of just normal wall. Once we do that, then we can start working on the actual build. But make sure that it will fit this wall design. And an easy way to do this is to speckle stuff like that. And remember to make some different shapes. Don't make it just a square or rectangle. Add several rectangles together. The shape of the build has now been figured out. It's going to be T-shaped. And don't make yours exactly like this unless you really like what I'm going to do. But try to make your own unique design. And what we do now is stack this up to be 4 blocks tall, or 5, and actually 5 is definitely better, so that way we can have double layered floors. Make these 5 blocks tall, and we can start texturing them using the mossy cobble and andesite. Foundation now 5 blocks tall. Start lacing it with some mossy cobblestone in long arcing strands, and then add some blobs of andesite. If it overlaps the mossy cobblestone, that's okay. But if you just add all this, it will make it seem just a little bit more professional. As you're doing this, I recommend possibly trying out new blocks in it. And some good ones would be tough. You can see it matches a little bit better, and perhaps it could even replace your mossy cobblestone strands. There's a lot of things you can try out, so just see what works out, and I think I'm going to replace the mossy cobblestone with tough. But remember, long arcing strands and blobs of other things. And if you make those strands connect, now you can see we have what looks like large rocks in it. Divide those up with a darker block, perhaps tough, and you can make mossy rocks and just a ton of different things. So just imagine a pile of rocks, assorted rocks, and try making that your foundation. I've made this foundation a large collection of rocks, kind of like just a random rock pile, and albeit it might look pretty motley, and my cat has made a cameo yet again. Anyways, we want to add a doorway somewhere, and we just punch a hole in the wall. Now what we do is we extend these dark oak things upward, but make sure that you keep the differentiation of which ones are going to go up like this, and which ones are just going to end here. If you don't make that differentiation, you might have some large issues. So be careful of that. Perhaps just replacing one of the blocks with something random like calcite will work out, but make sure you have these towers. The dark oak pillars are now in place, and I marked the ones that won't go all the way up with some red concrete. And in order to finish this off, connect them all up with dark oak stairs, kind of like this. And the ones that don't have a marker block can go up all the way, which means you get to place an extra slab in front of it or one block above, kind of like this. And it's up to you which one you prefer. Just as a wall demonstration, we can see what's going on. Either one works, and personally I'd say it's easier to build if they're both on the same height. So just do this along it, and you will be able to successfully make your pillars finished. The stair is now in place. It's now time to add the actual walls that we want in this build. And that's, well, quite simple. We just grab the dark oak logs from here. Anytime we have one that has jutting stairs, we add some logs behind it. It's really just simple, nothing else to say, besides the fact that we connect them up like this with dark oak logs, and have window holes surrounded by white concrete. And now we have that medieval cottage look. Just continue this all around the build. The first layer of walls has been added, and what we do now is we place down the dark oak planks that go in front of them. And that's not terribly complicated. On the corners you place down 3 like this, and you just keep on layering them in front, and you'll have a better build as a result. If you're going to make any part more than 2 layers, then now's the time to do it. And in order to figure out how you're going to do it, these 2 blocks designate where the floor is going to be, which means you have to extend it up a little, or you can add some stairs in between in order to add some differentiation, which is actually the much better choice. Continue our logs upward, and look, it's now a spot to add our next wall. Do this if you want to make your places a little bit taller on some parts. With the walls now in place, we can now look at, well, an incomplete building. But you can see it's definitely going somewhere. They jut out a little, and you can see we can expand them by just placing 2 stairs that face opposite directions whenever there's going to be a floor. I don't recommend making this building any taller than this. You could go an extra layer, but anything beyond an extra layer on top of this tall part, that's just too much. And we got walls in, which means we can remove the marker blocks. And we can start working on the actual build. In order to do this, you just replace the floor with deep slate tiles and mix in some cracked variants to start off your basement. With the cracked tile flooring now in place, I recommend adding the next floor, because if you just do it right now, you might end up with not enough room for your next floor. And we can solve that issue by just placing down flooring first. And the top layer of our foundation unfortunately needs to go. It won't be visible, and since it's not visible anymore because it was obscured, it will not change the build. Replace that with dark oak planks, and once you have that part done, then get yourself some spruce planks and fill in the middle. And make sure that it goes everywhere, and you'll be doing good. With that now in place, there really isn't much to say, albeit it's going to be dark down here, and, of course, just add some lighting first, or drink a night vision potion. The floor above us is now complete, and what we want to do now is add some storage. You could either do a long line of double chests, just like this, or you could do barrels. And barrels are more aesthetically pleasing, so I recommend using those instead. Then, surround these in dark oak planks, like this, just a little bit of framing, and perhaps even just make it logs. Once you do that, do it on the inner corners too. Add as many barrels as you want, and once you're finally done with that, add some long dark oak log things going across the ceiling for support. And perhaps even add a wall here, using the designs we have on the upper floor. Adding some proper lighting to this room, using lanterns on top of those support beams, really sells the look of this place. It's kind of cramped, and it is kind of a basement, so it makes sense. And there's one thing though, we do need to fix this wall right here, and just giving myself night vision real quick. I recommend changing this wall to cobblestone, just fits the vibe better. And once you're done with this, then add a staircase going up to the second floor, and designate this area right here for it. And once you got that going, we can now finish the rest of the build, because the other two floors are very simple in comparison to this, because it's just a normal survival house from here. Before you finish off this floor, I recommend just making this wall design right here all around. It simply just looks better. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but because how motley the outside is looking, I think it would be better to have a little bit of consistency on the inside. So just do that, and while you're at it, add more support beams, more lanterns, and perhaps even section off some areas for rooms for later. This one could be a mine right here, and that's just something you always need, and it's better to have it on the inside. And, that's just what you want in this build. Make it as useful as you can because it's a larger one. With this area now done, it looks quite a bit better. It's just more fleshed out, and overall, just a better place we can include miscellaneous items in. Now what we want to do is just add a staircase, and it should be made out of spruce. Just grab yourself some spruce stairs and choose any design you'd like. Because this is just a house, and you don't need to include a spiral staircase because we have quite a lot of room here. Just whatever you want to do will work. And remember, don't break the floor accidentally, and don't just make room in the walls like this just by punching them out. Just make sure you build a normal staircase. The staircase is done, and what we want to do now is just start making the floor for the second floor. Albeit it will make the first floor dark for now, it will definitely work out. What you do here is just you make your second floor exactly how the first one was, and you include the support beams on the ceiling of the first floor. It's just not very complicated, it's just a floor. Support beams in place, we now want to use the other side of this room for another staircase, which means we need to plug up these windows with white concrete, and fortunately because all the support beams we have, we can just hang more lanterns in order to solve that issue. Create your staircase, add glass panes to these windows, and on the outsides of these, you can add some little flower beds like this. In order to do this, you just place down some grass blocks like this, but do only every other one, so that way it's just not too repetitive. Place down spruce trapdoors, close them, place them on the bottom, and then place flowers inside this. The flower beds are now in place, we got windows, and the final thing we need to do before doing the interior is a roof. In order to do the roof, go to your protruding little accents here, and place some stairs like this, and connect them up, and make sure that they don't obscure the window. Of course, we do need something to be a little bit of a transition, but this will suffice right here by placing a slab in front, and just having it go over like that, and that works out good. Then, you go up with some warped stairs, just a normal roof kind of like this. Once you get to the middle, then make a slab that goes all the way across the top, and that should be dark oak. If your thing is more than 1 or 2 sections wide, then your roof would end up being too tall. And a proper solution is to cap it off at some point, then go right back to your warped, go like this, and go back down again. That way, you don't end up getting an obscenely tall roof. And if you don't have access to warped wood, then some good alternatives are cobblestone, spruce, and copper, which is kind of weird, but yeah, it does work. Try those if you are unable to get warped wood, such as if you're too scared to go to the nether. The roof is now complete. We have a wall extension here, just making the white concrete and logs go up. Some dark oak nodes here that connect up in order to make a little bit more depth. Some warped stuff, and otherwise, it's a very simple roof design. And we just want to make it again. Go over here, make the same design, except without the flat top if your thing is less than 3 segments. If you have 2 segments like this, or approximately 7 blocks ignoring accents, then you're perfectly fine to go straight up, kind of like those villager houses over there. Since we have a second roof, the exterior of this build is basically complete. We'll go back and add some spruce leaves, but otherwise this part is done. We now need to go on the inside. You can see I have night vision on for viewing purposes, but you want to have a spruce ceiling above your logs, and extend your walls up by 1 block if they're visible. Here you can check for any errors, and fill them in. Make the roof spruce, go for the second floor, and do the same thing. Then place down your lanterns, and we'll be ready to add our just interior things. The ceilings are complete now. We can see that I added the dark oak outline that we have on the floors, just a little bit of consistency. And just fill out this place with whatever you need in your survival world. You should probably put it on some brewing stands, some beds, and I do recommend using this area for your bedroom because 1, it's isolated, which means you won't get the monsters are nearby, do not sleep message, as long as you, of course, light up the ceiling. Make sure to do that too. But fill up this place with whatever you need. Crafting tables, furnaces, brewing stands, just whatever. And don't forget about carpets. Albeit, you have to only use carpets if you like doing a fancy design where you replace the ground with wool and then use carpet, like this. And just to explain why that does not work here, just making a small carpet here. Replace the floor, a little bit of depth, we can place furniture, and yeah, can't do that. But besides that, add whatever you need. Before we cover the interior, just one last thing. I've tried replacing the roof with cut copper, wax preferably, and I prefer the look. If you're not happy with your warped look, then this is a very good alternative, especially if you already have several warped builds. On the inside, of course, we just have the barrel room, nothing to see here, and just some furnaces. This is the entrance to a mine, so I didn't do anything there. But up here is where it actually starts getting kind of cool. We have some portable water supply because cauldrons kind of suck, and we have some brewing stands in case you need to do some brewing, a hopper for lactus storage, and an enchanting setup, preferably with grindstone and anvil, a couple of crafting items, armor stands, nether wart, and a staircase, which has a little bit of a railing, which is actually just the same design as the roof, where we have a block and 2 opposite facing stairs. Behind here, we can hide something if you live with other people in this house. Then we just got a nice room, and here's where the personality of this build shines. We have all the music discs, some chests in case you have some emergency storage such as backup tools, and we have some wither skulls and a wither painting. Clearly this person is about to summon the wither if they get another skull. Along with that, they have the dragon egg with some quartz, and albeit it doesn't fit thematically, still the ultimate meme, the dragon egg lamp. And overall, this build is done excluding for the exterior, so grab yourself a couple of spruce leaves. For the exterior, what we want to do is add some piles of spruce leaves, whether they be just inside the walls like this, and that does look pretty decent, albeit it does hide a little bit of the incredibly complicated foundation. Still, this works good. Connect them up, preferably, or if you don't like that, you can do that too. Some freestanding bushes like this, stacked up, some spruce trees, which you can just place down a couple of saplings for, and let them grow. And then the final thing, actually wait, that's way too dense. What you want to do is add a path from the doorway. Add some tuff, just going around like this, and wherever you need to go first, such as your local farm. Make it go a little bit, well, less dense the farther away you get, and interlace some mossy cobble with add cobblestone, and if you're still confused about how to do a path, I have a separate tutorial I'm going to link in the top right. Here we have the finished product. We have some path here, just a little bit of stuff. We got the trees around, we got some bushes that correspond to the windows, and albeit they're not everywhere, still, we can see that they correspond to the windows whenever possible. I recommend building this if you're in need of a larger house after your first house, or if you have a lot of copper or just any other material lying around, because they are really nice houses if you have the sand and gravel necessary for the walls. For one final flyby of Slider's vibrant shaders on this build, you can see it's just a really nice house. I just recommend building it, and there's nothing else to say about it. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Enjoy the rest of your day and your new Tudor house. Gearsaw out.